Alright, Comfortable Universe with Dr. Pete, the Song of Everything. The exposition on how likely it is that life formed somewhere else in the universe besides just here on Earth. Think of it just in these simple statistical points of view. One planet, which isn't all that strange or unusual of a planet as far as we can tell, has produced life. Cannot even in any remote sense of common sense, be the only time in the entire universe that it happened. That would be just, from our point of view, insanely bizarre. Now, religious people may have an argument, and we can't, categorically rule that out. Even in any sense of having a God, a creator, a simulator. Maybe they've created this universe that what we're looking at is kind of a projection and goes to coarser and coarser resolution the farther away we get, and so what we're actually able to see is really all that's there. And the finer resolution stuff far away is all bogus or isn't really there, never was. Do old people ramble? Do old people lose their train of thought and ramble on and on? Because I sure seem to be doing that today. LUCA is the subject of this particular video. Life on Earth had to have gotten started so early in its history. Earth was formed 4.56 billion years ago from the primordial disk, the solar disk, as the sun consolidated, and this disk of rotating, just loose rocks and dust and material consolidated into planets, and one of them was Earth. And Earth started having an identity about 4.56 billion years ago. And we have evidence, the best evidence is that Earth cooled enough that there was water 4.404 billion years ago. And here's the point about LUCA. The geneticists are now telling us that LUCA lived 4.2 billion years ago. Now that says, okay, we got Earth at 4.04 billion years, finally getting liquid water. Before that, it was just too hot, too chaotic. Although under higher pressures, liquid water can form at a higher temperature. We got 200 million years between the formation of liquid water on Earth, so that Earth had settled down and had oceans, or at least under the surface liquid water. 200 million years ago we had LUCA. LUCA, the last universal common ancestor. It's not the first life form. This is what is most astounding to me about the discovery about LUCA, about all of life on Earth's last universal common ancestor. It was a complicated creature. It had DNA, it had a cell wall membrane, it had RNA, it had ribosomes, all these things that are needed that are in the prokaryotes, the simple bacteria that we see today. It coded for 2,600 different proteins. It had, clearly, they've demonstrated it had an environment in which there were viruses that were attacking it, and it had already developed the simple bacteria form of an immune system called CRISPR, C-R-I-S-P-R, which we're very excited about to use to edit genes and stuff like that. The bacteria use it to stay alive under the attacks of bacteria. LUCA was already part of a thriving, wild variety of life, an ecosystem. 4.2 billion years ago, and only 200 million years after it was even possible for life to develop, life as we know it. In other words, on a planet that is in the Goldilocks zone, habitable planet with liquid water. So, 200 million years is all it took, and that's the absolute longest. Something that, precursor to LUCA, could have come along way sooner than that. And there's another main new discovery or recent kind of change of thinking about how our universe, or how the Earth, formed life, what it was like for those first forms of life that LUCA came from. And we'll talk about that next. It's the asteroid bombardment, the great cosmic planetary gardener that was constantly overturning the soil, churning the soil, keeping all the nutrients and water mixed together and stirring, and that's where life probably got created. And we'll talk about more of that, even more about LUCA, because I've got more to say there too. Life is everywhere. Talk to you in a bit. Bye-bye.